all the way. I don't like this. I'd give better content if I knew what the context of what this was. Hey man, how's it going?
You just embrace it. You know
I'm
what I'm
embracing
saying?
it.
All right, Jake, listen. You and I got to talk.
Okay.
Right? And then Pat.
Patrick,
Pat doesn't have a mic, and he's really tall, so he's out of the shot. So this is perfect.
can you grab me a monster?
Yeah.
This could be a monster advertisement.
All
Not allowed to, right?
Just all right. Listen, just crack it. That's go ahead. Go ahead. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
We're gonna cut all the monster out of the video
We're gonna
because
cut-
we don't want to be demonetized.
You're making this more editing than it needs to be. Listen, I'm just here. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, okay? And you're the face of the operation, Jake. Look how beautiful you are.
I know.
All right.
I know I am.
And that hood's great in the middle of August here. Just nice and.
That means it's always cool in Acropolis. You can always come down here and cool off.
That's perfect. All right. So listen, we're just going to talk about games real quick. What do games mean to you?
Happiness, essentially. Without gaming, I don't think I'd be as happy as I am. Like, it's the perfect unwind to stress.
Now, what kind of games? What's your favorite kind of game?
As a competitive person, my favorite game to compete in is Magic, but my favorite games to kind of just unwind and have fun are, as of right now, a plethora of board games and Warhammer. Now, Warhammer is very competitive, but I like to use it for fun. Unlike Caleb, who power games.
That brings up a good kind of a good segue though. Like, when does gaming become, unfun? That's not really what I was going to ask, but I mean that's a good.
Yeah, I think any person can make a game unfun if they take it too seriously.
You think it's the person more than
the game?
Yeah. So like, if somebody wants to win, okay. Let me backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Winning almost in some of these games is viewed as a negative thing, or wanting to win. But like if you and I are playing pickup basketball, you're going to try and beat me every time, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to walk away from that game thinking that you're a jerk because of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So why are tabletop games different?
It's not. It's what the people bring to the experience. Because whenever you play a game, you want to win and you want to have fun. And
there's nothing wrong with wanting to win, right?
No, I mean the thing is if you're okay, if you can have fun losing, like if you can enjoy the experience and lose while trying to win. Like that's what it comes down to. And
right.
when you have an experience with someone who doesn't have fun when they're losing, or makes it so they're not even having fun winning,
and it makes it less fun for you.
If you're losing and they're not having fun while they're winning, it just makes the experience bad.
Okay, so I mean, I guess to compare it to pick up basketball again, if you're playing 5-on-5, one team, both teams are going to try and beat each other, right? And a lot of times, you walk away from the game and you say, "Hey, good game," even if you won or lost, right?
Right.
But sometimes in tabletop games, we're not able to do that. Why is that?
I think we should be able to do that. I think everyone should be able to walk away and be like, "Wow, that was fun. That was a good game," whether they won or lost.
And I think sometimes you do.
I think most of the times you do. I think most people in tabletop games do. I think when you pick up a board game, whether you won or lost, you had fun. And
I would say the collectible stuff, the Warhammers and the Magics of the world, and other similar things, there's more of an emphasis on, not necessarily on winning, but it's more, people get more butthurt when they lose than, like...
Well, that's because there's more, I wouldn't say money invested. Yeah, it's more time investment. Like when you get into a hobby like Warhammer and Magic, you're not only investing a lot of money, you're investing a lot of time. Whereas a board game, you invest, probably a maximum of 3 hours per that game investing, and you can know that's okay to lose. Whereas Warhammer, not only is it a 3-hour game, but you also invested time in building and painting the models.
But what's your end goal? Isn't your end goal to have fun?
Yeah.
And
I never have a problem winning or losing, except in Magic tournaments.
Why is it different from a sport per se?
I think down in the root of it, it's not different. I think people can treat sports and games the exact same way.
I agree. Now is it because when you play a sport, obviously we all have physical limitations that maybe we don't perceive those same types of limitations in the games we play? Because granted, some players are better than other players in every contest, right? That's adding a lot to the shot. You know what I'm saying, though? Like,
well, it's all different. Like, when you pick up a board game for the first time, you don't know what you're getting into. You're just learning it. You have invested nothing into it. You can walk away from that game and have fun. If you play a game like Warhammer multiple times and you're using your same army multiple times, it's just like playing basketball multiple times. You're practicing with your army. And then the more you practice, the more you play with. The more you practice basketball, the more you play with your army in Warhammer, the more you play with your deck in Magic, you expect more from it. Because you're practicing. And so you want to get better. And if you come up short, you'll be disappointed in yourself. If the people you play with are not enjoyable to play with, then you've invested not only a lot of practice and money and time. It just comes up that one short experience came up short because of all your invested time before that.
I mean, I understand, but it just seems like I guess maybe that's the opinion I have, that it's the perceived
I don't think there's any difference
limitation. Does some come from hubris? Like, you don't think that you should lose at these games that we're playing, and that's why some people get upset?
Yeah.
You know, like you just assume...
Like I said, if you walk onto a basketball court and just play for the first time, you know you're gonna lose. If you're not good at basketball, you're not going to pursue it. If you are good at another sport, you will pursue it and practice it.
But what if you like playing basketball more, even though you're not good at it?
Then you'll be fine losing every time, unless the people you play with are jerks.
So is that where it comes from? That people think that they should be winning at these games? So, like, if you build a deck in Magic, you assume it should win, or same thing with 40K. Like, if you bring a certain list, you feel that you should.
I say, so for me right now, I am an experienced Magic player, not so much Warhammer. I feel like when I build a Magic deck, I expect it to win. In Warhammer, if I build a 2,000 point list to play with, I don't really expect to win. I expect to. I'm not experienced. I haven't put the time in. I haven't put the know-how. I haven't invested too much into it.
If games are a social interaction, specifically tabletop games here, if they're a social interaction that's meant for fun, is it wrong for people to get upset about losing, or is it their behavior?
I think behavior takes a lot. I don't think there's anything wrong with being disappointed in losing. I think it's how you act when you lose, or how you act when you're winning.
If it becomes toxic, is that the?
Yeah, I've had plenty of experiences with people who have beat me that I was fine that I lost, but I didn't enjoy it because they didn't make me enjoy it. And there's times when I've won where it wasn't even fun winning because the person was a sore loser. So, like, but then there's times where I've lost and had a great time losing, and times that I've won and both people had a great time. So I think it's the behavior, not necessarily the result.
So how do you get people to behave in a positive way when the game is not going their way? Granted, obviously there are variables in this where some people's personalities they're not fun to play against. You know what I mean?
And I think
some people just don't mesh.
I think when it comes to games, which is heavily resulted from some luck. Not all. There's a lot of variables, but luck is a big factor. In Warhammer, you never know what you're gonna roll. In Magic, you never know what you're gonna draw. There's statistics, but still luck. I think that you just have to be okay with losing. I think if you have the mindset that it's okay to lose, you don't. Not that you're complicit with losing, but it's not the end of the world.
That winning and losing is part of the game.
Right.
Right. I mean, whenever the score is kept, winning and losing is part of the game. Shouldn't you players sometimes use losing as a learning experience rather than?
Yeah. Every time I've lost a game, I've taken something out of it. Like, well, I could have done this, and it doesn't matter that I lost because I'm gonna just play again and have fun again and hopefully win the next one. Now, when it comes down to tournaments and stuff, it's a little bit more invested, and losing has a little bit more weight to it. And that's where you want to things get a little bit more serious. But the whole point of these games is to have fun. Win or lose, have fun. I think that is the whole point of sports as well. Obviously, with more on the line, the more weight there is. But you have to be okay with losing before you can have fun.
I agree, and sometimes you get into this. Specifically in 40K, there's a big divide between competitive and there's a big divide between competitive and narrative play. But even when you play in a narrative game, one side, it's a war game. One side is inevitably wanting to kill the other side and win the battle, right?
Every game that exists, there is the element of winning and losing. Whether even if it's a co-op game, the game wins or you lose. Or you win. The game wins and you lose, or you win and the game loses.
Winning and losing is important, but the interaction's more important, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Unless you're doing it professionally, or you know what I mean, you're competing at if you're competing in certain levels of sports, I think winning is more important than other things.
When you have so much on the line, like the more that's on the line, the less about or the more important winning is.
It's similar to golf when you say so. Like if somebody's out there playing golf with their dad, and they're getting upset and throwing their clubs when there's nothing on the line. That's not what it's about, right?
No.
Now, if you're on the PGA Tour and you miss a putt and you get upset, that's a different thing.
Right. It all matters what's on the line, whether how important winning is. If you're playing a card game, you're playing poker with your friends, and you're not betting any money, and you lose a hand, why is that important? Like, it's all about luck. You can take those elements into anything in life. If there's nothing on the line, just enjoy the ride. If there's more on the line, try harder.
So, end of the day,
have fun.
Have fun, but there's also nothing wrong with wanting to win the games you're playing.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to win the
but
games
don't
you're
make it the only thing, right?
It can't be the only thing. The experience should be the important thing. When you sit down with 4 friends to play a board game, the experience there, the memories you make during that game will supersede if you won or not, by tenfold. I remember experiences with friends. I remember the moments with the friends more than who won the game.
Right. The die roll at the end, or it comes down to this, or
even when I've gone to big Magic tournaments, I remember more so the experiences with the people I went with than what did I end up at that tournament.
Right.